So why analytics and why big data? A survey that's actually in front of you right now shows how people are using analytics to realize competitive advantage. And that's been immense, actually. It's been growing by leaps and bounds. And that increase has been closer to around 70% in the recent few years. People are now going into the zettabyte age. There's a fundamental shift in data. How is it stored? What is it going to be used for? Is it going to be used for just running your business as usual, or is it actually going to be used more to drive benefits and analytics that's going to better serve your business to go to a greater degree? So this whole shift has helped organizations think about data a totally different way. Firms really want customers to be treated as individuals. Why? Because they will lose them if they don't treat their customers as individuals with their own preferences and choices. Firms don't want every customer to be treated as a simple customer. They want every customer of theirs to be special. So that kind of a consumerization is driving people to be treated very special. So consumers are wanting more and more from business houses. So if you look at this survey, what new customer expectations does the organization face? We treat it as individuals is probably the first one. To enjoy the transaction more, easier interaction, it goes. But the biggest thing is to be treated as individuals with individual preference, which means that organizations of today need to know so much more about their customer from their data so that they're able to better serve them. This need is going to totally polarize this industry towards monetizing data about the customer and making sure the customer is getting the right service from any organization that actually is benefiting the customer. This is going to be a big shift in the industry, and we've already seen early adoption into this. We're probably going to get into the next level in the next few years. How is this affecting the IT departments and the IT organizations of different companies? A lot of technology executives, CIOs, CTOs are actually pushing their budget towards different kinds of projects, but they're putting data projects right up ahead in the stream. Now the survey that you right now see in front of you shows, around a big percentage or a chunk of money is actually put towards these kinds of projects. There are other projects that are getting significant traction, but the data-related projects seem to actually hog the limelight. At this point, I would like to immerse a second poll question and get feedback and answers from you guys. Please choose your options, and the survey results would be displayed in like 30 seconds after you choose the option.
I shall close the poll and share the answers now. %52 says unstructured data, moderately important to very important. 29% historical data, diverse sources of data, moderately important. 13% historical data, diverse sources of data, somewhat important. And 6% unstructured data, somewhat important to important. And that's the overall response for this poll so far. I'm going to hide the answers now, and Kumar, please carry on.
This survey from a small sample of audience that you guys have probably shows what kind of technologies IT organizations, CIOs, CTOs will actually be looking to invest in to actually solve this problem. They're actually going to look at the ones that you guys chose. It's probably pretty fair in terms of what kind of challenges they pose in actually tackling this big data mass, right? So they probably have a good handle over the structured piece. They probably actually need help, and they see a lot of gold in this unstructured piece, and that's where there is a justification towards the projects being high in that area, the budgets being allocated towards that area, and the market shift also going towards consumer, and the consumer benefiting more from data about him lying in organizations. If we were to expand that thought further around what CIOs, CTOs, and technology geeks in companies who are driving business innovation are trying to do, they're actually looking at 4 different technology paradigms. They're looking at social data, they're looking at mobility, analytics, and cloud. Sweetly termed as SMAC in the world. They're using the SMAC technologies so that they're able to speak, react, and transact with the customer and communicate with him in a very agile way. These are things and capabilities that are being provided to the consumer to interact with the business in a never seen way before. So the customer has many channels to interact. He can actually interact in a mobile way. He can actually use cloud to interact through some cloud applications, or he can actually interact with the business in a social way. So he's able to benefit from so many different channels of interacting with the business services that he's getting from the business, right? And all that ability, while it actually helps the consumer, what is it actually doing to the businesses? It is actually helping business deliver data instantly to the customer, not have him wait for hours to get the data that he needs. He has data at his fingertips. It's also transforming the business to a shape where the business is becoming very agile, and in an effect, the CTOs and the CIOs of the organization are actually transforming their business to take age-old technology investments, modernize them, and get them to a new age technology platform that's actually going to serve and benefit their business transformation as well as the consumerization a lot more. So this is actually the biggest shift in the market that we see. Let's talk about deriving value from unstructured data. Yeah, we know there is unstructured data about the customer that exists. Lots of V's around big data that's being used, volume, velocity, variety. People talk about all of these things, right? How is that going to help? What's the value that lies? Yeah, there is data. What is the value? What kind of value has been seen in this unstructured data? Let's take some examples, right? These might be just a few examples. There might be many more examples that people start dreaming about, people start looking at, as data scientists start looking at this data. They might come up with n number of more such options. But a few of them, just for you guys to get a feel of what the industry is looking at is, how to integrate structured data and unstructured data in verticals like healthcare and insurance, right? How to gather sentiment around some topic in your business, right? How to mine text or do text analytics so that, some pattern matching could be done, flagging some customer who's vexed and is about to close his account. How do you appease him to actually stay on, or how to find if a fraudulent transaction in midlife or in mid-flight or before the transaction expires, how to find out that it is a fraudulent transaction. How can you actually make some sense out of a fraudulent transaction and try to report a little more or add more stringent vigilance into that even before it transpires its life cycle, right? These are some of the use cases, right? Mostly all of the use cases fall in a good, fast, or cheap category. When I mean good, fast, cheap, that's probably the easiest way to find or derive value. If you're able to do something good to your business, for example, I was not able to find fraudulent transactions on time, right? That's a good feature that your business can benefit from having these big data initiatives. I can do something faster than I was able to do with legacy technologies, or I can do something cheaper because I can put a lot of this kind of technology on commodity hardware. So good, fast, and cheap are three good paradigms or dimensions to measure the derived value from unstructured data. If IT organizations are in a binding to actually make an ROI or a business case for a big data initiative in an organization. We've seen that happen a lot. We also talked about new age analytics when we started